My name is Alex Gorosh. I'm a commercial and documentary filmmaker. I'm also a Nikon ambassador. And I got my start as a one-man band. So I was making videos for my summer camp and for my high school and really whoever needed something. And then over the years, I ended up moving to Los Angeles. I worked my way up, and now I've worked with brands like Verizon and Ford and Starbucks and Hershey's and a lot of different groups that I really believe in. The organization that I've made the most content for the longest is called Outward Bound. They're like an outdoor leadership school that uses the wilderness as their classroom. I started working with Outward Bound immediately when I graduated film school. It was my first job when I graduated college. I got to go on all these trips, and they paid me almost nothing, and I was so excited because they would just pay for my expenses as I traveled. It was such a cool opportunity, and it was an invaluable experience, and I'm very grateful for it. So I used to live just a mile down the road here, and I remember coming into this place and just being so excited and a little intimidated. I remember rehearsing my lines of what I was gonna say to the people at the counter right over there. And first of all, they were not nearly as intimidating once you talk to them. They were very friendly people and super knowledgeable. Everyone has their own projects that they're working on here. But then also, this is just such an honor. I'm so glad to be here, and with such a cool brand too. So I first heard from Nikon, I think it was 6 or 7 years ago. I had done a project with a buddy. We took a telescope around Los Angeles and let people look up at the moon. It's part of our YouTube series To Scale. Some folks at Nikon had seen that and wanted us to do the same thing basically with their P1000 that was coming out, which is a crazy telephoto zoom lens in a mostly consumer camera. So that was my first project that we did with Nikon. And then since then, I've been doing little short documentaries on wildlife photographers that they work with, or a lot of their ambassadors. So I kind of met a bunch of ambassadors, and I was always this is so cool. I wonder how they got to be part of this club. And then last summer, I got a call that they wanted me to be part of the club. I was just blown away, and it's been a really fun journey so far. So I was lucky enough to work on the Z6 III launch, and that was the first time where the people at Nikon came to me and asked what I would want to make a video about. They basically wanted to show off the features of the camera, and they asked me about what I would want to feature in a short documentary. The speed and the power that's packed into such a small camera body is amazing. A friend of mine started this nonprofit years ago called Women Who Weld, and they teach women how to weld. It's pretty straightforward, but it's really powerful for a lot of these women, and it's powerful for the entire workforce. They're trying to get more women into welding in general. So I got to go around and test out the slow motion with the bokeh of the sparks flying, and it was a really cool project. And I was really excited about all these features of this camera, of being able to shoot at high ISO, 6K, so you can kind of punch in wherever you need to later, and the crazy high frame rates with the bokeh flying, with the sparks flying was a really fun combination. So I do some commercial work, and I also do a lot of projects for nonprofits. And recently I've been working with LAist, which is Southern California Public Radio. And they're an amazing organization. If you don't support them already, you should. It's not just for Los Angeles, it's for the whole region. I wanted to do something cool where we show their logo kind of overlooking the city. And I had a couple very specific things in mind of what I was looking for in the shot. So I wanted to get a time lapse. I wanted to make it a little more dynamic to add some movement to it. I wanted some movement in the foreground, maybe not super close to the lens, but because I didn't want it to be too hectic, but I wanted, a street kind of in the foreground and then the skyline behind it, some palm trees, the sunset. And I had to find the perfect spot to get all these things to happen. We ended up kind of finding this hill in a leisure park that was a perfect spot. And so that's what we did. We went up to a hilltop. We had all the elements of what we were looking for, and then we pieced it all together. So I've been blown away by all these new Z-series cameras. The Z-series from Nikon has, a giant sensor that's really, really close to where the lens actually attaches. So it just lets in so much light. And, that's a technical way of saying these lenses are super fast. You get really gorgeous depth of field on these when you open all the way up. And there's something about the color science, and I'm not a scientist or a colorist, but I can tell you that right out of the camera, it just handles skin tones really well. And they also have these amazing features now, especially where With the Z6 III, you can record NRAW, so that's like Nikon's version of the RAW codec. You can get so much information in there. Now that we're partnered with Red, we have these Red LUTs that just came out. And basically what you can do is record in N-Log, which is like a flattest picture profile. You can add a LUT to the footage, and then suddenly you get all the vibrancy back, and it looks amazing. You can do some minor tweaks from there, but you don't have to bake in the color into the image, and you can still kind of like quickly go through and edit things in post. So it's a great combination. If you are remotely interested in video, photography stuff, talk to people who know the industry, who know the gear, and those people are at Samys. Another great thing about this store is that you can rent things before you buy it. You can rent things for a project so you don't have to own all that gear. Now they have this program where you can rent things for the day, and then the rental price that you pay can actually go towards a purchase. So that's just like a huge opportunity to like try things out, figure out what you want to buy before you make the final decision. And for bigger jobs, you don't need to own a giant light kit because you can just stop in Samys and rent one. It's really an invaluable resource. It's also just like a community hub. You can just walk through here and you just feel like other people that are like either in the same boat as you, or maybe they've been doing this for decades longer than you, but either way, like you can just talk to them and learn things. And I feel like Samys is a staple in this community of creators in Los Angeles. And so anytime you get a chance to do any of these classes that are offered here or work one-on-one with experts, highly recommend it. I love this place.